Well, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show. I am your host, Yolanda. On my show, you will hear stories from people who have experienced hell right here on earth and have walked past hell to share their story. You will also hear what they are doing now and how their businesses, nonprofit, or ministry was birthed because of their past trauma. So let's empower the world one life story at a time. But before we get started, I'd appreciate it if you share this broadcast, tag a few people that you know, because somebody needs to hear what our special guest has to say today. So again, share this broadcast, tag a few people. I'll give you about 30 seconds to do so, and we'll be right back. Well, welcome back. All right, we are about to get started. So today we have a very special guest. Her name is Paula Farve, and she is also known as the Shea Queen. She's a best-selling author, a motivational speaker, women's advocate, CEO, and originator of Naturally For Me Shea Butter LLC, a holistic approach to multidimensional healing and skincare. So she's also the founding member of let me say that again. She is a founding member of You Can Flip Houses Academy and CEO of Fruitful Property Investments. Paula is also a mother, a grandmother, an Army veteran, and she has a firm belief that you can start over at any age. So without further ado, I want to welcome our special guest to Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show today. Welcome to the show, Paula. How are you?
Hi, Dr. Jerry. It's a pleasure to be here this evening, and it's a pleasure to for you to give me the opportunity to speak my truth and spread just knowledge on this subject, something that's so taboo amongst all walks of life.
Well, I definitely am honored and thankful for you to join us on today and be a part of the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show. You know, I know you on a personal level, but also a professional level. And this is your second time coming back. But this time you have something a little different than what you shared on my show before. And I don't know if people are ready to hear what you got to say today. So we get ready to spill some tea. Isn't that right? We get ready to spill some
Right.
tea.
We're ready to spill some tea,
Yeah.
change some lives today. I'm ready to change some lives. Yeah.
That's right. And not only spill the tea, but the tea is good tea, because I want people to know
Right.
there's a such thing as healing tea, right?
Right.
So
That's right.
somebody is probably going through what you've gone through in the past, or may know somebody who has
Mhm.
children have gone through what you have gone through in the past. So hopefully what you provide today on this show is something that would be helpful, encouraging, and hopefully something that you can take away from the show today. So let's get started. I want people to really know who Paula is. So we're going to go back to your childhood. I always like to start off the show with trying to get to know where a person is from. So let people know where you were born and raised and a little bit more about your background.
All right. I was born and raised in a little town called Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. And I am number 13. Yes, number 13 of 14 kids. Whew, yeah, that's a lot. Yeah. And right now, my mother is still living. She's 96 years old. I have two children, 21 and 25. I have three grandchildren. Life is good now. Life is good now, and you'll find out why. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you say Bay St. Louis, because some people think of Mississippi and they're like, ain't nothing down there in Mississippi. But we got, like, there's also a whole bunch of melanin down here in Mississippi
It
too.
sure is, right? Sure is.
Well,
Yes.
good. So now you mentioned, being from Bay St. Louis, kind of, and I want to say, you know what, it's a blessing for your mother to be at the age that she is at, because so many people are passing away and dying at an early age. I know you are thankful and blessed for her to still be here, in her elder years. But I mean, your mother's beautiful. I've seen pictures of her, beautiful queen. And so cherish all the memories that you have with her. Continue to create those memories. And I'm glad to hear that you're moving back home too as well, because, and it's nothing like being able to have that time with your family. You never know when, that time is going to come for someone to be called home. So
Correct.
So Paula, I want you to tell us, so we see the title right there on the screen and it says Overcoming Incest. I'm like, oh my goodness, I hope somebody don't make me cry. Look, don't make me cry. Don't make me cry, because this part I don't know about you. I know a lot about you, but this is something that you have not shared with me. So you might see me sniffing if it gets a little too deep, but that's okay. That means I'm human. So I want you to let everybody know, okay, what is it that you actually experienced, during that time in your life, and how was that for you? So just share your background story on that, and then we'll get into the rest of how that journey started moving forward when it comes to your healing.
Right. Okay. So yes, my heart is beating fast, but I'm just here to tell my truth. And I just want to say that I'm not here to hurt anyone, bring up old business, but I just want people to get this word out and for people to heal. Okay. I've experienced incest at the young age of 6 years old was my youngest recollection. It could have been even before that, but it was when I was 6 years old, and this is at the hands of my natural father, my biological father, because people always ask, are you your father? You mean your dad? Yes, my father, my dad. And this is very traumatizing to any child, male or female, because there's so many males also go through this, and it is so taboo. And you're taught to hush, you're taught to hush and don't say anything about it, And but it got to a point to where it's started moving forward faster, and so I decided at maybe about 15 years old. And I was looking at a show with Right Reasons. And when you have a traumatizing childhood, you forget like dates and specific years and time, because I have received counseling, and they also say that you wipe certain things out of your mind because you don't want to remember them, but you always have reoccurring dreams about them. You have nightmares. You something small may happen, like this is gonna be shocking, but like when men jingle change in their pocket, old men, it goes through my body, because when I was going through it, that's how I knew I had to go in the room. He would jingle his change, and that affects me to today. I have so much pride not to ask men for money or help or any assistance or anything. Even when I was married, I was scared to tell him, look, I'm running low on money. Although they're supposed to know that that I wouldn't even ask for money then. So it was so prideful and so hurtful. So things like that, it have a hold on your life, and it was hard getting beyond that, but better days are coming. I'm doing great now, but yes, this is very traumatizing. I ran away at about 15 years old because in my young mind, I thought that if I give, we had 13 kids, I thought that if I gave them a chance to have a dad and my mom to have a husband, it's like I didn't want to be a burden. It's better for me to just go. Just run, Paula. Just run. You can't take this anymore. And so I was placed in the foster care. Okay, at 15 years old, no one really wants a 15-year-old, It's kind of hard to be adopted or to be placed. And then when you go into foster care, you have to look at at like if they have sons or if they have fathers, and you know, at that point, you know, either they'll have sexual advances also. You know, I couldn't help it that I was a beautiful little girl. Sometimes I hated being beautiful. It took me a long time to get back to say, you know, I am beautiful, you know, because I didn't want to be beautiful. I thought that's was why these either the foster dads or the foster sons or my dad, you know, wanted to abuse me, you know. So I set myself as a victim for a long time. Even in you know, it affected my relationships. I'm no longer embarrassed to say I have been married 3 times. You know, I'm sure that played a big part. You know, the multiple marriages, not being able to cope with certain things.
Wow, Paula. I mean, young age, just so people understand, what age were you when it all started?
6 years old.
My God.
6 years old. While people were playing with Barbie dolls and and other little things, you know, I was worrying about how I was going to fight off my daddy, you know. And although it's so crazy, I love my dad. Every young girl loves their dad, you know. And it's it's I try to stay disconnected from him, but the disconnection, like Pastor Frank said, is so crazy because I got most of my gifts from my dad, and I didn't want. My dad is Choctaw Indian. I didn't want to be Choctaw Indian because my dad was Choctaw Indian. So I denied gratuities. You know, you get paid for being Native American. You know, but for years I denied gratuities because I didn't want any connection with him. When I went in the military, I pronounced my name Farve. I didn't even want anybody to know my name was Farve because you wear a badge of shame like everybody knows, you know, like when I told it and when I ran away, of course, Bay St. Louis, you know, Mississippi is very small. So I felt like everybody knew my business, something that, you know, like your family, you're not supposed to tell. So I felt like everybody knew, and I felt ashamed. I felt guilt, like I let the whole family down. You know, it's 14 of us, you know. So I felt like I let the whole family down. It was just it was a great ordeal I had to go through. And then from there, you know, you can't take it. You know, I had some relatives that would chant stuff like Chester, Chester the child molester, you know, and so that really took a toll on me also. So I was always so compromising. That's the thing, when you have something taken away from you, you rather be compromising and be appeasing to everyone because you just want to be feel accepted. You know, like I mean, and then also I try to stay out of the home a lot. So my kids, I always tell my kids they get it from me. They signed up for everything, but they did it because they're just kids. They want to be active. I did it for a different reason. I was a cheerleader. I 4-H club, the Beta Club, anything you could imagine, I signed up for it because I did not want to be at home. That's why I have multiple degrees. I've always had to been active. I can't be idle because that's my thinking time. You know, then I dwell on things. But it got to a certain point where I couldn't handle it, and I did attempt suicide. And when people attempt suicide when they're young like that, they don't really want to die. We crying out for help. We crying out for somebody to help us. I didn't want to die. And thank God that he saw that because, you know, I grew up Catholic. I grew up knowing in my mind, you know, that they taught us that that was a sin. But God saved me that time. You know, God saved me. So from a young age, when you go through these things, it's weird. Like people that are successful, when they're young, they tell themselves, because I've heard a lot of people say that, you know what, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to be amazing. Even though you go through certain things, you, because of this being taken from you, is always a void. So you always try and overachieve. Like I have multiple degrees that I don't use any of them now, of course, because I work for myself, but I have multiple degrees because I wanted to stay, my mind to stay going. Like I said, I'm OCD. I can't be like mellow. I always have to be doing something. And it's all stemmed from my childhood. It all stems from my childhood. Because sometimes you don't want to think about things.
Right. That's deep, Paula. It's amazing how going through something like that, just listening to you talk about, you had to stay busy because you
Mhm.
said, a devil likes to play in the idle mind, and when the idle mind, when you just sit still and just
Mhm.
anything, that's when he come to try to attack, right? And sometimes he uses our past to really, really get to us, especially if we know we don't have a strong relationship with God. The devil can come in and he'll try to kill, steal, and destroy us, period. And so just knowing that you went through that, and like you said, you were staying busy, that's tough. Having you basically were fighting for your life, if I could say it in that.
Right.
You were still fighting for your life, but in a way that you were being defensive, and you put this guard up, and it's like, I can't stay still, because if I stay still, you don't know what you were going to do to yourself. Like you said, you wanted to
Right.
commit suicide. So if you stood still too long, those attempts, one day that attempt might have been successful. But I commend you because you still made it to this point, and sometimes just having to go through that process, it takes a long time to heal. I mean, even now, just having this conversation with you, I can tell some of it, just talking about it, it's still rough, right? It's still rough. But at the same time, it's like, you know what, I need to get this out, because you know what, you're unpacking that wound,
Right.
that bandage. You're removing that, removing what shouldn't be there. And not only removing what shouldn't be there, but you're also helping others, because right now there could be somebody that's dealing with this same issue and is scared to talk about it. But one of the best ways to heal is to talk about it. Start
Right.
putting stuff out in the atmosphere. Start releasing it. You'll never let it go, because it's a part of your experience in life, right? You'll always remember the experience, but how you move forward in life with that experience is what matters. So I thank you for just even sharing that part about you experiencing incest at such a young age. I want to go to a commercial break, because I want to always be mindful of the people who are supporting me and my show, the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show. And when we come back, we're going to get into a little bit more about the, that part of you having to, what that healing journey looked like, and what it took for you to even get to the point to where you are today, with knowing your dad is not that person
Right.
who took from you, what I mean, who took your innocence from you, but actually he's somebody that you actually honor nowadays. So we'll
Right.
talk about that in a few minutes. So let's go to commercial break. You all stay here, don't go anywhere, and we'll come back with some more from Paula Farve. And we are back again. As you can see, that commercial was by none other than our special guest that we have tonight, Miss Paula Shea Queen Farve. There's her information just in case you want to purchase any of her products, or you want to support anything that she has going on in the future. TheRealShadeQueen.com, and there's also her Linktree website as well. So, all right, Paula. So, incest, overcoming incest. at the young age in your single digits as a kid, by your father. So let's dive in and talk about, how did you start dealing with that? How did you start dealing with, okay, I can no longer hide this, because I know all it's doing is making you sick, you know, um, mentally, possibly physically and emotionally. So where did you begin? And you can even bring it back to when you started that journey. When did you start your healing journey? What did it take for you to try to deal with this stuff that you had to deal with, this trauma? And how do you see your father today?
Actually, I didn't realize that I wasn't healed until I moved here to Seattle by myself. I moved across the country. I mean, y'all know this almost 3,000 miles away, and people thought I was crazy. But I knew I needed this because I was given to everybody else and not myself. I had spent almost 15 years in a marriage where all I did was give. So I was tapped out. I was tapped out. So I said, you know what? I am not I was in my late 40s. I am not an old 40 something years old. I need to live while I still have in me. So I need to do some self care. So I moved away. I was in seclusion for a year. No dating. All I did was work, come home, work on my craft. And I realized that I was still hurting. And I realized also how it affected my marriages. I was, like I said, I was so compromising and so giving because I just wanted to appease that other person. I just wanted them to accept me. And then I thought, you know what? I'm a great person. I have really worked on myself. I never harmed anybody in the process. I always remained a lady, although I was carrying all this burden and shame with me. So I faced myself. And I'm telling you, if you're going through some type of pain, I know you've heard me say this before, but if you don't deal with yourself, you cannot deal with anybody else. You cannot love anybody else until you love yourself. Some people cannot deal with themselves, so they go from person to person, dragging their baggage and their luggage, but they never did get the help. You're still going to have the same outcome. And then as long as you see yourself as a victim, for years I saw myself as a victim. I don't want nobody to feel sorry for me. And then the harshest thing, but the best thing that my ex could have ever said to me, you know what, Paula, the world don't owe you SHIT. You owe yourself. You need to talk about this. You need to get that out. Until you heal from that, you're going to do yourself a disservice. So I actually, since on the outside looking in, I actually took heed to that. But then when you're in relationships and you go through this, you also accept abuse, because I've been through domestic violence and mental abuse, physical abuse. I've been verbal abuse, all of abuses you can name. I allow that because I just wanted somebody to love me. And it took me a long time to leave because I ran, from when I was a child. So I was like, well, I don't want to break up the home. And when they say people stay for the kids, they really do. I tried to make it until, like my son got out of high school, but I just couldn't do it. It's like, it's weird. It's like God wakes you up one day and just be like, Paula, you need to get it together. You need to live. You need to live, and you need to live free, and you need to live at a level where, I mean, it's so crazy right now how powerful I feel. I am not ashamed to sit here and tell you that I survived incest. You know why? Because I know this is what God gave me. I'm a vessel. I'm a vessel now. I don't care. You can say what you want to say about me. I don't care. I've already told it. So what you gonna say? Go on, tell it. Whatever. She, so and so with a daddy. Yeah. And now I'm telling my truth because I want little girls and little boys. Like I said, little boys and little girls go on to hurt and they never heal. It's a lot of young men out there that have or incest survivors, but they're just survivors. I was tired of just making it, tired of just surviving. You know how much because you know me personally, how much my life has changed since I moved away because I had to take back my power. I had to take back Paula. I had to get myself together. I love myself now, and it's so crazy because I forgave. I forgave my dad, but it even took me longer to forgive my mom. I love my mom to death, and she taught me a lot of values. But because she told me we would leave, and we never did leave, so that's why I ran away. I said, like I said before, they need a dad, my mama need a husband. They ain't never gonna break up, and they didn't. They were married over 50 years before he passed away. My dad would have been 102 years old today. And I say this to say, like Pastor Frank said, he got his gifts, his like entrepreneurial spirit, and his even though his dad abandoned him, his dad was an entrepreneur. It's so crazy because my dad taught me how to cook. He was the best cook, although my mom is Creole, she can cook too. Both of them can burn. But my daddy taught me how to cook. He was a craftsman. He had a garden. He taught me about herbs. I use herbs today. I've been using them herbs. We was never sick in school. I never missed a day. The Farves got perfect attendance, baby. But that was because of the roots, the herbs and everything, as being Native American and being from the South. You use what's in your yard, you use what you grow, you use all your resources. And in a way, he was an entrepreneur also, and because, he was a local, after he got out of the military, after he retired, he was a local fisherman. He was a woodsman, a craftsman. And I'm creative. I love working with my hands. I make all my products by hand. And a lot of people can't believe that, but everything you get off my website, I make it with my hands. And my dad did that. And, I had to say, wow, this is really my birthright. I've been denying myself years of creativity just because I didn't want to be connected to a person, my dad, somebody that birthed me, that gave me life. I forgive him. And, I'm not making any excuses. But my dad, I could tell like something wasn't right, because that's why I tell veterans to get help. I'm a veteran. I suffered PTSD also, but he had been to 2 wars, and they had him on all types of medications. He would be great, and then he would be, like 2 different people. And then when I'm gonna tell you this, not too many people know this, but my father that I grew up, Father Terrio, when my dad was passing, I came home on emergency leave. I never got to come home for leisure, not really, because my dad was always sick. And I do believe that because of what he did to me, I'm not saying karma. I'm saying I think his heart was so heavy because he had so many heart attacks. He suffered so bad, and he on his deathbed, he was screaming. He was screaming for me. I didn't want to go in that room with this man. That's a call. I'm not going in this room with this man. But Father Terrio, people from Bay St. Louis and that went to St. Rose know Father Terrio. Father Terrio took me in that room because he was screaming his confession and telling me he was sorry. He was so sorry for what he did to me. It was so intense. that they almost had to put me in the hospital because I almost fainted. I couldn't eat for days. All I could hear was him screaming, "Please forgive me, Father, forgive me, Father, forgive me." And I believe, although what my dad did to me, I believe he did go to heaven because he asked for forgiveness. He asked for forgiveness. I couldn't. I told him I love him. I loved him, but I didn't really forgive my dad till really the last few years of my life. Really, really. When I was going through my issues with my husband, that's when I started said I need healing, and I need to move on with life, or I'm gonna be stuck. I'm not gonna be able to function. And I know I'm an awesome person. I have a lot to offer, and I realize that now that I have a big heart. I'm a giving person, and that I needed this. I needed this forgiveness. I need to give this forgiveness so I can move on with life. I feel so free now. I feel so free. I feel like it's weird how free I feel right now. I mean, I feel like I'm so blessed, that God gave me all these I went through all these transgressions just so I could help somebody. I have a testimony. Do you know how many people that have survived incest that are dead or on drugs or prostitutes? That's another thing. I don't, I barely drink. I can drink maybe, one or two drinks because I always hear the statistics in my head. I'm like, I could be, I could really, if I start drinking like this, I could really become an alcoholic because I have issues that I haven't dealt with. It's so weird, people think it's funny that I've never even tried weed because, I make CBD products. That CBD is not marijuana, but people are shocked that I have never tried a drug in my life because I know these are vices, and it's so easy for me to fall back on, to use those vices and to like self-medicate. People medicate all the time. I said I was never gonna self-medicate. You will never catch me, doing certain things. I mean, I don't even like to take over the counter stuff just because I'm afraid that I will be an addict of some type because of my vices, my mental vices.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me just say, I had to keep it in because you almost got me, Paula. You almost got me when you start talking about your dad is
Yeah.
drinking and hollering, and when in his last days, because it kind of, it reminded me of my dad in his last days, and
Mhm.
when you think about in your shoes, knowing all that your dad has did for you, the good part is that Father Terrio was there with you, right?
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
even though you didn't really totally forgive your dad at that time, you allowed him to say what he needed to say.
Right.
Because he knew he had to release that. And in his mind, he's probably like, if I don't apologize, if I don't put this out there, then I'm going to hell. And that's probably exactly what he thought, and he felt like I need to get this out. And that's why he was calling for you. He needed to make sure that you understood that he was sorry. Even, sometimes I hate to say this, but sometimes it takes somebody being on their deathbed to realize what they've done to somebody. But it takes a bigger person to even realize that I need to get this out because that's what's right. Because
Right.
some people don't care. They'll go to their grave whether they're going to heaven or hell, and they'll just
Mhm.
be like, I did it, so what? So I commend your father for even going through that, and you eventually, even though you didn't do it right in that moment, ultimately forgiving your dad because the forgiveness wasn't for him, it was for you.
Right.
It was for you to be
Yeah.
able to start your healing journey, for you to be able to move forward. Because like you said, you you start thinking about those things, and it could lead you to other things. And just like you said, something about the drinking and the marijuana and stuff like that. Those are easy way outs, right? Those are things that are easy to get to numb your pain, but that's temporary stuff. What happens when the marijuana wears off? What happens when the alcohol wears off? You right back where you was. It's temporary, but here it is. You are putting all of this mess, toxic mess in your body, not knowing what it's doing to you, in your health as well. So the good thing is you recognize that you have those vices and you know how to stay away from them, because some people don't even know how to do that. Look at, we can use DMX for example. A powerful man. So many people loved him, but he was dealing with demons, and those demons was drugs. You know what I mean? And so some people don't make it to live to see the next day. But Paula, Farve, you are here. You are here sharing your testimony. You are here sharing your story about your incest and the things that you've gone through, being able to forgive your dad and being able to move on.
Right. And I wanted to say, pay attention to your kids. Um, Pay attention, like Right Reason says, if a child don't look you in the eyes, something's not right. If you ask certain questions and they put their head down, sometimes they have low self-esteem. Sometimes people that go through it are bullies because they don't know how to protect themselves at home, so they go to school and be bullies. You would be shocked how many bullies are being molested or are going through incest, and so pay attention to kids. Um, when you go through it, you're very protective of your kids. You don't let them. Okay, if they have a son or if they have, it doesn't matter, son or daughter. Things happen to kids, so you have to really pay attention and believe your kids when they tell you that something is going on with them. Listen. That's why I wouldn't. You know how they say your kids tell you certain things, you will go off. That's why I would question my kids. They was like, "Oh, mama, no," and they could talk to me about anything, and that's because I realized that I couldn't go off. No, I couldn't be their friend, but I know that they can. My daughter called me every day. All my son do is text, but but my daughter calls me every day, and my son, I love both my kids to death. I love my grandkids, and I would hate for them to go through something like this. That's why I keep a close knit, and that's another reason why I want to come home. My grandkids and my kids, I really want to see them grow, and have Sunday dinner and stuff like that. But yes, pay attention to your kids. And if a child attempts suicide, they didn't attempt suicide just because they want to die. They're really crying out and something is going on with them. And don't be afraid to get counseling. That's another thing that's taboo. I went through counseling a couple of times, but it got so hard till I shut down and I didn't. And then, that's when you start remembering things and you don't want to remember things. But now that I can talk about it, I can say I survived incest. It's not so, I'm saying, of course, it's horrible going through incest, but when you actually say it out loud, because I would never say I survived incest, I would always say I was molested. And that's two different things. That's two different animals. So when you say incest, it's a family member, and that's taboo. Oh, you talking about the family? You putting the family business out there? Yes, I am putting the family business out there because I know some other people in the family have been hurt, and I'm the only one that was brave enough. So I'm speaking for them also. I'm speaking for all the little kids that's going through it right now and are trying to get out of it. I hope somebody see this and I can help somebody, because this is something that you carry with you. You're gonna carry for the rest of your life. You will cope with it. You know, like now I can survive and I'm actually thriving. But I had to do the work. I had to do the work. Nobody can, not a husband, a friend, they can't do the work for you. They can be there for you, but you have to do the work. You have to do the work.
That's true.
Yolanda Jerry can't save me. My new husband can't save me. You know, nobody can save me but me. You have to face life. You have to face reality. And I can't lie. Sometimes I just cry, ugly cry. Like I posted the other day. Sometimes I ugly cry that I feel so blessed. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for mentioning the part about pay attention to your children. We get so caught up in life, business, doing all kinds of other things. I mean, I know because I was in the military and I was always working so much. Some things I missed, my daughter was bullied in middle school, and that story. But as a parent, we need to make sure that we're really paying attention. And even since that incident, it's like now it's just like, I'm like calling her, she calling me, or we calling, and I might say, man, she need to stop calling me all the time, but at the same time, it's like, what happens when she do stop calling me? I'd rather her call me 50 million times than not call me at all, because at least I know that we have that connection and she feels like she can come talk to me about anything, and that's the connection you want to be able to have with your children. Because the last thing a parent would want to hear is that their child has been a victim of sexual assault, domestic violence, being, out on drugs, got caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time and on their way to jail because we didn't take the time out to pay attention, not say talk, pay attention to what our children are dealing with or what they're going through or what they're getting involved in. So I commend you for just even bringing that up, because we need to talk about that more. People need to pay attention more. And it don't even necessarily have to just be the parents. If you're a family member or a friend and you come around this child all the time, there's nothing wrong with having that conversation and asking them how they doing. They might open up to you before they open up to the mother or father. And to me, I think that's quite okay. Some parents are so protective of their kids, they don't want their kids to talk to anybody else. But what if the problem is you as a parent? You know what I mean? What if the problem is you as a parent? You needed somebody to talk to. You feel like you couldn't talk to nobody because of what your family would say, because that was your dad that committed that incest with you, right? But we should be able to tell our children that it's okay to go talk to somebody else and us not be mad about it. You know what I mean? Just to make sure that they are safe. So good stuff. Thank you for bringing that part up. Well, we're going to go to another commercial break. Got another sponsor on board that's supportive of the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about where you are right now, what's been happening in your life the past couple of years. I mean, I know because I'm your mentor, but a lot of people don't know all the things and all the work you had to put in to be who you are today and do what you're doing. And then also let us know about some upcoming things that you have coming up. So stay tuned, everybody. We could be right back after this commercial.
Hey guys, I am Rita M. Green, owner of Go Fig Co., a boutique digital marketing and project management firm. We specialize in email marketing, social media campaigns and management, website design, graphic design, email marketing, Dubsado setup, and more. Administrative tasks especially. We are here to take the hassle out of your hustle and just to get things done, period. So if you're in need of another set of hands, a second pair of eyes, or a fourth or a fifth or a sixth, we are here to assist you with all of your needs. Again, I'm Rita M. Green, owner of Go Fig Co., and we would love to serve you, your business, and your brand. You can connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Go Fig. Go is spelled GEAUXFIG. You can also see us online at www.gofig.com. Check out what we have to say, and also check out our blog where all of our articles that we post online are located. Plus, you can see our portfolio of completed works. We'd love for you to check those out as well. If you'd like to check with me, if you'd like to connect with me personally, I am Rita M. Green on LinkedIn. I hope you have a fantastic day. Go win the day. Go for the gold. And bye-bye.
And we're back. And that was, as you can see, GoFig Code, www.gofig.com. That is Rita Green. She is the CEO and founder of that company. If you don't know her, get to know her, because she's one of the people that make me look good out on social media, the internet, the magazines, whatever you want to call it. She helps me with my brand. So I know I can vouch for her. So again, GoFig Co. So let's get into, before we get into all the things that you have going on, Paula, I want to go ahead and pop this up on the screen, because I feel to believe if there's a way we can help somebody who's been a victim of sexual assault, a child molestation, at least they'll have an avenue, a place to go to be able to reach out to somebody. So on the screen, you'll see National Sexual Assault Hotline, RAIN. The website is www.rainn.org. And also the 800 number is 800-656-4673. Again, that's the National Sexual Assault Hotline. All right, so Paula, let's get to the good stuff. The real good stuff, like where you at now, because we know your story. You know that you've been a victim of incest. You know, you had to go through your healing journey, and you know your journey has brought you to where you are right now. And you are not only a survivor, but you are thriving right now as the Shea Queen. So please share with our watchers and our listeners about what Paula is doing right now, what things are coming forward, and anything else you want to share with us.
Okay, well, right now, you guys know I moved to Seattle, Washington. So from there, I grew my business. I started a CBD line. So that was one of the things that was helpful here, because it's recreational here. So I was allowed to do a lot of things and experiment and do a lot of different products that I'm going to bring to the coast. So you guys look forward to that. I have something under my sleeve that is not being done in the coast right now. So y'all look, I don't want to say what it is. You know how that is. So I plan on opening a storefront. That's something I'd like to do on the coast again. And also, I am in an academy called You Can Flip Houses. So I'm going to start dabbling in property investments. That's something I do with Greg Moore. He's an ex-professional football player. So that he's has great guidance, and he's been very successful at it. So I'm not opposed to like before I said, no, I'm just going to be the Shea Queen. But guess what? When you find your passion, it bridges you to your purpose, and you start getting multiple streams of income. I didn't know I was going to be a writer. That's another thing I'm starting to do: speak and to write. And I have we just had the #1 best-selling book anthology by you, Dr. Yolanda Jerry, the visionary author. And I have that, My Walk Past Hell, and I kind of talk about what I've been through in that chapter called The Comeback Kid. So I'm truly a comeback kid. I also have a book coming out, Can't Keep Running Away, dealing with my past also and how I progressed to this point. And I also have a book that I'm working on, and I think I'm going to want some people to work on it with me. Things your mama said. You know, when you get older, you reflect back on your childhood, like your mom said, don't start something you can't finish. You know, and you actually can relate to that on so many levels of your life, and things that she said that she was just telling you the truth. Because if you want some cold hard truth, you better talk to your mama. So I have that, and I just have so many ideas and so many things going on. And if I didn't get to this point of forgiveness and being free, I feel like I couldn't do any of this. And Dr. Jerry, she helped, she's my mentor. If you don't know now, she's my mentor. She kind of pushed me out there to do a lot of things as far as speaking. Like, she did my first interview, and that interview landed me so many speaking positions just from that interview dealing with domestic violence. And I want to tell people, don't limit yourself. Yes, I went through domestic violence, and I should speak on that. I definitely want to help other women, but the root of my cause of my problems and my issues and my transgressions was me not dealing with being surviving incest. So that's why I feel so strongly to speak on that. Yes.
Well, we have some questions, and I'm glad to be able to be a part of your journey and just see you just like blossom, because I'll tell you, it's been a blessing to see you just come from that little shell, and now we just can't get Paula to shut up. No, but we got some questions, Paula, that I want to see if we can get answered before we end the show tonight. And the first one is from Frank Henderson. He says, Paula, you mentioned that it was harder to forgive your mother than your father. Is it because she never left your father? Did you see her inability to leave as a failure to protect you?
You hit the nail on the head, Pastor Frank. I'm like, what mother wouldn't protect their child? And back then I felt like she picked him over me. And so in my mind as a child, I said, okay, if she gonna pick him, I'm gonna pick me, and I'm gonna leave, and I'm gonna be, it was almost like I felt sorry for her. And I said, well, I'll compromise. And from then, that's when my life changed. I started running, that I'm compromising every aspect of my life, and even down to, like when I was married, it was always okay. Their way was okay, because I just wanted to appease the other person. And then when you go into foster care, you have to you have to cater to that family because you want to be accepted. So then when you get into adulthood, you want to cater to your husband, and and you give them their way, and it's pretty much their way, and that's the way it is. I'm no longer like that now. I don't play, So did that answer your question?
Hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah.
The next question we have is from Angela, and it says, curious, when was the moment you realized you needed to speak out and begin healing?
When I dealt with myself, when I came here and everything was quiet and I had to deal with myself, I went through crying, I went through guilt, I went through everything you could imagine. And then, like me speaking, like my first interview with you, that's what pushed me to speak on like domestic violence and every other thing in my life. But you know what? I thought about it. I said, you know what? I'm talking about domestic violence, but the reason why I accepted being abused, verbally and physically abused, is because I never dealt with my childhood. So I felt like when I dealt with that I need to speak on it, because some people need to hear. I just felt compelled, like I need to tell somebody. I need to get this out. It's eating my insides, eating me from the inside out, So now I feel I am not ashamed. I am Paula Farve. I am the Shea Queen, house flipper, author, naturalista, herbalist. I'm all these things because I know that I am a gift to somebody, that God gave me these gifts to present to the world, and he gave me a voice to present to the world, because I know if I can make it, I've been through so much. You can't even imagine how much I've been through. I didn't get anything easy. I didn't get anything easy. Anything I have, I had to fight for it. But you know what? Even like me moving back home, I said, you know what? I have started over before, but I'm okay. I'm not scared now. I'm not scared now, because I faced myself, and because I moved out here on my own, and because I stepped out on faith, and because I opened my mouth. And like Yolanda Jerry say, Dr. Jerry said, I can't shut up. That's right. I can't shut up until I help somebody. I want to help somebody.
Thank you. Well, we got about 4 minutes, and I'm gonna try to get
Okay.
to these last. I'm gonna get two more questions in, and this is
Okay.
the last one. So this is from Right Reasons. What steps do you take to ensure you don't fall back into a childhood trauma mindset?
Okay. What I do is if I feel myself going into a hole, I call somebody. Cause I have called you and said, I don't know, I can't get it together today. I don't know why I can't stop crying. And then so I reach out to people that I know are safe. I know you are safe. I know Christy Gilner is safe. I have 2 childhood friends that are safe. I just go to my safety net and my support system because I don't ever want to get to a point to where I'm so depressed that I want to kill myself. I have attempted suicide twice. I don't have those thoughts anymore. I am shocked. It's amazing that I don't have those thoughts. I get depressed every now and then. Everybody does, but I know how to reach out. I'm no longer afraid to reach out. I'm not ashamed to say, "Look, I'm hurting. I got to get it together, sis."
Good stuff. Next question is from Alexis. What is your relationship with your family now, siblings and extended family?
My family not a bit more worried about that anymore. You know what I'm saying? They support me. They have inboxed me about my book and talking about it. And we have always had a great relationship. We've had some strains. We have had some strains, but that's in all families, but not in relation to to the incest.
Well, I know that just going through, your healing journey, sometimes it takes a family too, an extended family to also
Mhm.
realize they need to go through that same healing journey too as
Right.
well. So you all can, love on each other again and be in a good space. All right, one more question and then that's it. After the apology, did you have any closure or validation? That's from Dr. Hayes.
I actually did, and when I felt guilt or shame, I actually went back. I still replay that confession in my head, and for years my mother denied it, and that's why also, Pastor Frank, that would took me a long time to forgive her, because she would say, she lied on her daddy. She lied on her daddy, and that's all I heard. So it took me a while to forgive her from that. And then I think she actually, as she got older and realized, like, she see the great things I'm doing, but she has always told me how much she loved me, and that you my baby girl, because I am the baby girl, and no matter what, no matter how old I get, you still my baby girl. So, I mean, I love her to death. She gave me so much.
Amen. It's good to know that even though you went through all that trauma, all the things that you've gone through, your family can still embrace you with love.
Oh, for sure.
Despite your differences, despite the trauma, and despite the things that you didn't agree on, eventually things come together as long as you're willing to put in the work to make things come together. So thank you so much, Paula. I really appreciate you. A lot of people tuned in today. I'm thankful that they were here to tune in and hear your story. Hopefully, someone was inspired. We gave someone hope. And hopefully, like I said, it's all about empowering people one life story at a time. And if you can impact at least one life, then I know that our job is done. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
keep doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you. You got a lot of people rooting for you. I'm looking forward to you coming back home, because guess what?
Yes.
We have even more work to do when you get here.
Right. Right.
Thank you so much for being a guest. Any last words or comments? Do you want to leave some encouraging words for anybody that's watching right now before we close out?
I just want to tell anyone, like I said, it's never too late to start over, whether you're married or single, male or female. And I just want to encourage you to don't bury your secrets with you. You are wonderful. You are a gift, and I want you to live to your fullest potential. So I want you to get help. You're never too old to get help. I don't want you to go to your grave with your secrets. Even if you don't tell the world like I'm telling the world, I need you to go get help. Even if it's a friend, a pastor, counseling, don't look down on counseling. It really helps. It really helps. So I mean, I went through the PTSD, and then they also offered me the counseling for my incest. So that's how I got through it. And I just want to say, I mean, it's a blessing to be alive. It's a blessing to be alive. You might not tell today, but tell somebody tomorrow, okay? Think about it tonight. I'm telling you, think about it tonight. And I want you to tell somebody, even if you say it out loud in the air, just to get it out. I mean, you don't know how powerful it is. I feel so powerful right now, and I feel like I'm giving someone a gift because nobody heard me when I was a little girl. Nobody heard my cries. Nobody heard me when I was trying to kill myself and was just reaching out for somebody to help me. So get help.
Well, thank you so much, Paula, for your last thoughts and your encouraging words. I appreciate you being on the show. Um, if you're watching right now, catch the replay if you're just tuning in. Also, please share this broadcast with a family, friend, or associate, anybody you feel compelled to share it with, just in case they may need to hear this story that Paula Farve has talked about, overcoming incest. And tune in again next week, every Thursday, to the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show. We have an awesome guest that's getting ready to share his story for the first time, the very first time. Yes, I said it, the very first time with the public. His name is Patrick Davis, and his story is going to, I mean, and when I heard a little snippet of it, it's gonna shock some people. But the title of the show that we're going to be talking about is Overcoming a Drunken Soul. So make sure you tune in with our special guest next Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, with Patrick Davis on the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show, Overcoming a Drunken Soul. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been a blessing for you tuning in tonight. God bless. And if nobody loves you, know that we love you. Take care.
Yeah.